When I go to a new place where I am not known, people ask me two questions. And the first question is, after they know that I am a priest, Father, what is your name? And I tell them my name. And the second question, almost inadvertently, is, where are you from? And with my thumb, I point to the heavens. They look up at the heavens, they look at my thumb, and they say to me, Father, we know we are all from heaven, but where are you from? And I keep pointing to the heavens, and I look at them in this manner. They back off. They back off and don't ask me the question the third time. What is the reason why I do not want to tell people where I am from? Is because very simply, rationally, reasonably, what difference will it make to you to know where I am from? Encounter me as you see me now. Not with the baggage of where I come from, not with the baggage of where I am going, but where I am now. The gospel text of today is taken from chapter 6, verses 1 to 6. It is a scene which speaks about where Jesus is from. In the Gospel of Mark, up to the end of chapter 5, Jesus has been revealed as a man who in chapter 1 exorcises a demon, who cures a leper, who heals a paralytic let down from the roof, who eats and drinks with tax collectors and sinners and calls Levi, who heals a man with a withered arm, who is a man who tells beautiful parables about the seed in chapter 4, who is a man who calms the storm in chapter 4, who is a man who heals the Gerasene demoniac, who heals in chapter 5 the woman with the flow of blood, and who raises Jairus' daughter from the dead. All these miracles take place up to the end of chapter 5, and we are now in chapter 6. So this Jesus who is popular with the people, this Jesus who works extraordinary works, this Jesus who is an eloquent speaker, this Jesus who tells parables which are so relevant, now comes to his hometown. And even as he enters his hometown, Nazareth, the people look at him, the people encounter him, and the first response of the people is, we know where he comes from. Now that would not be so bad, because it was true that they knew where his parents were, they knew where he lived, they knew where his house was, so it would not be so bad. We know his mother, we know his relatives, we know his home, we know his background, which is fair enough. But then Mark adds, and they took offense at him. Why did they take offense at him? What did he do? What did he say that they should take offense? Nothing. He did nothing. He said nothing when he came, and yet they took offense at him. Why? Because they were saying to themselves, and they were saying to him, you are from our village. Our village is Nazareth. It is a small village. No great people are born in our village. No one can be great in this village. So you must be like all of us are. How can you be so extraordinary? How can you be so different? How can you be so magnanimous? How can you do so much of good when all of us here are living in the muck? And the Lord looks at them, and the Lord looks at the people, and the Lord is amazed at their unbelief. The reason why the Lord is amazed is because they had put a limitation on him already, even without encountering him as he was. And the reason for that limitation was because they seemed to know his background. Because they said, we know. And Mark adds a very poignant, a very painful statement when he says very clearly, and Jesus could do no mighty work there. Jesus could not do. In other words, the people tied the hands of Jesus, the people tied the spirit of Jesus, and though Jesus usually would rise above this, Mark is emphatic that the people of his hometown made him impotent. The people of his hometown did not allow him to perform. The people of his hometown put a restriction on what Jesus could do. And Mark has got no qualms about stating emphatically, Jesus could do no mighty work there because of their unbelief. I'm fond of telling people, be careful of saying, I know. You may miss the Messiah. Often in our lives, we set limits on ourselves. We set limits on others. Parents set limits on children. Children set limits on parents. We set limits on neighbors. Neighbors set limits on us. We are constantly setting limits on others. Today is a day when we remove those limits from our mind and realize that the Lord has shown us that we can be limitless. The second thing that we do is we stereotype people. We pigeonhole people. We put people in a bracket. Oh, this community, they are always like that. That community, they will never change. This community, the less said about them, the better. And we stereotype people based on the community, based on the background they come from. What we do, in effect, by stereotyping and labeling them, is we do not allow them to be the kind of persons that they are, like the people of his hometown did not allow Jesus to be the person that he was. Will I get rid of my stereotypes, my prejudices, my labeling today, and have the courage to encounter everyone I meet as if meeting them for the first time? Be careful of saying, I know. You may miss the Messiah.